Just about to hit the live.
Rather than actually playing Rocket League, I decided to come onto this podcast known as Let's Drone Out. We have actually John starting up Rocket League at the moment to see if he can do a physical challenge. And coming up this week, we'll also have Clinton. I don't know if this week you'll actually be doing something, Clinton, but in the coming weeks, we're going to be having them. But you haven't even done introductions. Look at that mug. Hello, John. Hello. Look back. He's too busy on Rocket League. He'll have this transfixed pose on the screen as though he's like, and he's smiling and he'll crazily swear or something, but who knows?
I'm chill. I'm much more chill.
You are actually.
Over the years.
Yeah, you know, and I believe you've been tinkering away in your shed building stuff, so we'll get that in a bit.
Yeah.
The host this week with me is Clinton Ectraz.
Hello, world.
How you doing? Well, I can't see you though. I believe you've gone to pitch black.
Who, me?
There you are.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you must have muted your video because you're just coming up with your logo, I think. Maybe not, I don't know. It might be all confused. Anyway, dude, how are you doing, Clinton? Your second week.
Sorry?
Can you hear me okay? Because
I can
this
just
is pretty rubbish.
let me then go on. Repeat what you said, Jay. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
How are you doing this week, Clinton? What have you been up to?
I'm good, actually. I got to fly today for the first time in a good few weeks on my 5-inch anyway. So that was good fun. We went to the beach with the kids and yeah, did some flying on the beach.
So last week, Conformal coated all sorts, your micro and stuff. Is your quad that you took to the beach coated in the same stuff?
Of course, and I was pre-wearing swimming trunks ready to go just in case.
Still worse for it.
But yeah, I was ready to dive in when just in case.
Nah, well, I would like to see that because this week I was seeing some of those videos on the urban drones. I think it is with the splash drone, and even the gimbal, 3-axis gimbal, and they were skimming across the water. It's quite impressive. It's not racing around the same way as yours would, but it's still impressive that we can do that these days. But
yeah, I think it's like I said last week. I think everybody should be. I think it's, you know, if you are flying around water, you should definitely consider conformal coating. That's for sure. Take it from an expert in drowning quads.
What are you using, Clint?
So it's conformal coating. It's like a silicone. It comes in like a nail polish bottle with a nail polish brush, and it's a silicone.
And it is nail polish.
So it's not, it's nail polish.
It's not nail polish. It's like it's a silicone, okay. And you paint it on all your electronics, and it makes them waterproof. So
I guess in theory, silicon comes in liquid form. You mix it up and you can make molds and shit out of it. In theory, you could just dunk your entire electronics stack, all the pieces that need to be waterproofed, into a silicon thing. But then you've got the whole situation of sorry, I said a goal in there. You've got the whole situation of overheating. There's no proper airflow over the electronics, surely.
Well, barometers and things.
I mean, we cover everything in heat shrink anyway. So, I mean, a lot of people heat shrink their ESCs and they tape them down to the arms. And by the time you've done that, you've put quite a decent amount of insulation around the ESCs anyway.
Yeah, I get that.
They're the hottest part, or going to be the hottest part of the electronics. But yeah, with the conformal coating, obviously it's sealing all the electronics anyway. So you technically don't have to put the heat shrink on them, so I've not bothered. Just no heat shrink on them.
You see, the thing is, you could just get your sealing silicone and coat, like you say, but you also sometimes want to remove it to resolder.
Yeah, I mean, you can
solder
straight through it, no problem. I have tried on a few occasions. So, and the other thing is as well is with heat shrink, if you've got heat shrink around it, then obviously the water gets stagnant inside and it just ends up stuck. So it's technically better not to have heat shrink around it anyway, from what I've read and what I've found. So.
Wow. Well, this comes from someone who has drowned a lot of quads.
I have indeed drowned quite a few quads now.
Yeah.
Like
I've only lost one, and unfortunately it was lost into a weir, so I could never get it back. So I've never had to fish it out of water, thankfully.
So if it's lost to a weir, it's still in the weir turbulence, just still going around there. It's been going there for how long now?
It's probably going to get reduced Like the frame will be a smaller frame, like a 130 size.
It'll be worn away, yeah. I get that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the water after that's quite shallow, so I do occasionally look as I ride my bike there, but nothing.
I had a great
Have you lost any water, John?
Say again?
Have you lost anything in water, as in flying or RC?
No.
No?
The closest I've come to water is on the beach in Cape Town. And I was brave enough to fly maybe 30 meters out and then fly 30 meters back and maybe skate the beachfront and things like that. But I'm risk averse, so I tend not to do crazy things over water. I mean, I think, you know, as I get more confident, I may, you know, there's plenty of opportunities to, you know, to power loop bridges and things like that.
There are, yeah.
And there's water involved, so I think there's always opportunity. So, I mean, over the winter I thought a lot about maybe using CFM or something like that. One of these sealants that sort of sprays on and polishes off or sprays off in the shower as a sealant to against rain or landing wet or just flying through clouds and things like that. So, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll have to think of
flying through clouds. Yeah.
Well, we did that. So yeah, we tried that, and the biggest problem with flying through clouds is that your lens mists up and you can't see shit. So, you know, it's not a problem.
There's often low flying cloud.
Yeah.
Of the year. Yeah.
That's something you've still got to try actually.
And there are issues of signal loss as well over water with as it absorbs a lot of the radio waves rather than it bouncing back up off the other ground. So water isn't always a great thing to fly over, regardless, even if you got.
Yeah, but I don't subscribe to that because line of sight's not really an issue over water, is it? You don't have trees in the way, and
half a kilometer, so 500 meters away. That's when you're talking. There's going to be more of an issue. Not necessarily up close within 100 meters.
Yeah. I'll bear that in mind.
Down, it gets worse for carrying signal across. Apparently.
I'll bear that in mind when I start long ranging.
Yeah.
That's why. So, one thing on my list is that I'd love to get a wing and do some long range stuff. You know, we see people flying down through chasms and stuff. Is that what's that you got there? One of the easy UHFs.
Yeah, I've embarked on that dream, I suppose.
So
what's your plan for it? A wing?
How long do you have this thing?
I bought a Miniture, and they seem to be quite popular. Apparently they fly really well. I haven't flown planes for literally decades. You know, it was the late 80s when I last flew airplanes with any consistency. So I just figured I saw a video and I thought that looks pretty good fun. I don't mind trying it out, and not necessarily for the long range stuff, just to do like sort of you know, slope soaring and, you know, with power on the back rather than actually sloping. But so I figured, what the hell? And I saw a special on the Mini Talon kit from wherever, Banggood, for like $35. I thought, I'll buy that. And I told my wife, I said, yeah, I'm going to buy this plane. She said, oh, that's cool. She said, how much? I said, $35. So that was the kit. And then she told me there was false advertising and crap, so because I had to buy the UHF thing, which I got from Constable for a good price, and I've had to buy motors and an APM and flight controllers and GPS modules and all sorts of crap, and it's still rolling in.
APM? How are you finding APM? And is it your ones at 32-bit?
It's a load of crap, really. I mean,
it's so much potential, and there's a lot of flies that do put it in.
I haven't flown with it yet. I'm just saying from a
I'm not saying
getting the thing working perspective, it looks like it's not INAV, put it that way. It's the control interface, which is a thing called Mission Planner, or that's one of them. There's no configuration page and PID page like we used to, where you do the tuning. Yeah,
we essentially change the parameters through an INI file and things, don't you? A text file.
Yeah, it's all CLI. Yeah, so you CLI the whole thing, which is a bit sort of archaic for me. But I mean, it is an archaic board. It's not even supported with RG Pilot anymore. So the
Well,
latest
yeah, that's what
version.
I was saying, because there's an APM2 and there's an APM. So
This
the
is
older
like-
one is the old 8-bit.
This is the APM 2.8, and they stopped supporting the Ardu Pilot software on it. Still supported for Ardu Copter, so for octocopters and things like that, but Ardu Pilot's not supported. So you're running an old version of the Ardu Pilot's firmware, which is about it's 3.4 as opposed to 3.7 or whatever. So you're way in the past. But really, the only thing that this board has that a regular flight controller doesn't have is a barometer, but you can get a full version of most flight controllers with a barometer on it anyway.
Yeah.
And most of them support inputs for GPS, and the only thing that they don't support is this radio telemetry, which is
433, isn't it?
Well, it depends where you are. In Europe, it's 433. In the US, it's 915. It's a little bit funny there, because the UHF is your UHF control channels at 433 as well. So you're running two 433 streams out of your plane, one for telemetry and one to fly the thing. And theoretically, you can fly it through the telemetry link as well if you enable joystick mode on your mission planner, which seems that's sort of like proper droning, I suppose.
I mean, I played with the old version of APM. I think it's got a lot of promise, and there's a lot of configuration, especially on the automated or the autonomous flying. You know, you have how much of a radius when it gets to that waypoint, how precise do you want it to be, and it opens up a lot of things, but it's not something to be taken lightly. And I think Painless 360 was, I kept referring to his stuff when I was setting my board up. So
Painless has just launched in this year. He started a new series on iNav, and iNav is a fork of CleanFlight. And
it builds on the GPS stuff.
Yeah, what they've done is they've just brought the autonomous flight components back into it. So and into from the original multi-wii, which was the origins of the whole thing.
But that was the Mega Pirate, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
it's going back a long way now, John. Wow.
Yeah, so multi-wii had all of the autonomous flight stuff in it, and then it disappeared when they changed. It all disappeared when whoever took it over, and it was a time cop or whoever, and took it over and started doing base flight. Anyway, there's a video on it, so it was quite interesting to listen to it explain the whole thing. But iNav looks pretty cool. In fact, it's the first in the series from Painless 360. I like his accent to start with. It's raw, and he's got good content.
So you've played with iNav a fair bit, because Jack actually has played with it a lot.
Yeah, I haven't got a flight controller with a barometer. I mean, it's easy to get one, but until now I haven't needed one.
I think the reason they never actually developed any of the GPS stuff, really, other than the backyard things, was because NASA was already getting its position hold in all the, the markets for actually having a useful GPS that should lock on and actually perform pretty well. So they actually already captured that market for the GPS stuff. So why would you bother on a racer when everything was going smaller?
Yeah, but you can't do fixed wings on a NASA. So can you? I don't know.
I haven't tinkered. I thought iNav enabled you to.
iNav is for
NASA
or regular F3 boards like NAS 32s and things like that.
It's all it is a flight control with barometers and gyros. Why you couldn't add a compass and a GPS module to make it,
That's exactly
the board won't do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you can't run CleanFlight and that type of stuff on NASA board. You can run it on a NAS 32, but not on a NASA, can you?
No, sorry, not on a NASA. No, on a NASA, as in, this is Timecop's original. Timecop's original thing is he said it's Japanese, it's NASA.
Yeah, well, Timecop's an idiot. So.
So everyone called it a NAS or a NASA. Straight, mate. Yeah.
I've always just called it a NAS 32 or NAS.
Yeah, NAS 32.
People have knocked the whole autonomous flying. However, I find that it's just another robot in that sense, and actually, it's quite an exciting thing to tinker with.
And that's what's missing from. I mean, the Ardu Pilot thing does robots, rovers, cars, boats, whatever you want. So they've got a fork for all of those, and all of those other things, and the antenna head tracker is controlled by an APM. So if you want an antenna to follow where your quad is, you can control that through an APM as well. So yeah.
I think I've actually got one of those APM 2.8s. It's the little grey ones, isn't it? Like the rectangles.
Yeah, one of these.
Yeah.
One of these.
That's it. I think I've got one of those. I think I've got one of those knocking about somewhere.
Yeah.
I've got a tiny APM that's still in the wheel going round and round. It's getting smaller every year. But the Pixhawk was one of the interesting developments, I think, in that whole RD pilot realm.
So that's the thing that's sort of like superseded all the APM stuff.
Yeah, the Pixhawk stuff.
They're expensive though. They're not $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're doing long range, or even if you're flying in certain areas with a wing or even a plane, more likely a wing, actually having a GPS to start at circling is not a bad thing. You know, fail safe.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
fly back to me when I get out of range. I'll stay
around and come back a bit. Yeah, so until I get signal, then I'll take over again.
Like my quads where they just fall out of the sky and end up drowning.
Yeah, but planes are graceful, aren't they? Quads beat gravity into submission.
It's because I've never flown a plane except someone let me have a go on a buddy box on the cut. Was it like Cub the thing? Oh, it's Sheldon's, and I realised just how difficult it was flying line of sight. But I would really, really like a wing, like an FPV wing. I think that'd be pretty astonishing. But I don't think it's practical unless you've got the long range gear, like his Easy UHF, which they're the open source ones, aren't they, as well? So it would be interesting to try one of those.
The long range stuff is one thing, but I miss having a fixed wing to fly and things like that. It's the Sunday flying that I used to enjoy.
Do you not have a fixed wing though?
I still got one. Well, I do actually. I have a big one that I wouldn't let you fly and try and dive bomb. But it's having.
That's still not. I've got my trophy here somewhere. It's buried away somewhere.
Your video. Maybe it's just me. If anyone can see Clinton's video, let us know in the chat room because I can't. Anyway, we should give some shout outs to the people that are in the chat room. We've got Striker, we've got Scotty FPV, the Sloth FPV, some more of the regular Zero FPV. I think the chat is so lively. If you haven't actually been to the YouTube, not live on this page, obviously now, if you listen to it afterwards, but if you're live at the moment, pop into the chat room. There's all sorts of technical and funny things going on in there.
So we got gigawatts.
If we can tear our way, find the chat room, we will read some chat outs. So
we need some ideas as well.
Yeah, well, the idea is this: we have the idea of Clinton's challenge, don't we? So every week, or maybe every other week, we get you to do something in a lot of time. Maybe under certain conditions. So maybe I don't know, whatever it is.
Standing on the head.
Trying to resolder ESCs to a flight controller or something. Okay.
So we got to trying to resolder my ESCs in the microwave, yeah, using nothing but
trying to reflow something in the oven, you know, whatever challenge it is, and it's not always going to be solder related. It might be anything else. And if you've got suggestions, pop them in the chat room. Yeah. Oh, we've got Matt Gammons in the chat as well. Matt actually lost his quad the other day.
Oh no! How has he lost? How has he lost his quad?
I think there was an antenna that wasn't right. It failed safe, but it failed safe in like a meadow with quite tall. And I feel you can actually find it for
no beeper or anything, though.
No, I see that's the trouble. Sometimes if you swap out ESCs or something like that, you don't always set the beacon mode on it. Or if you're just trying out a quad, like on my quad, I haven't actually attached a buzzer yet, even though it's my main quad and I've flown it for a bit. Just attach a buzzer, and I've got plenty of them. I give you enough away. You're just getting around to it, isn't it? So repairing and building and whatever not, we do sometimes forget these things, and it's always when we're looking at
buzzers and more buzzers. If you've got a buzzer, put another one on. If you haven't got one, put two on.
I never really subscribed to these locators. However, I'm not knocking them, and actually someone who, but when I was flying with them, they couldn't fly. They lost it in a fair way away. I wouldn't have ever thought to walk there. I saw rough direction it went, but it just flew off.
I was flying with Simon.
Cut it. Anyway, he had one of the locators, and it pretty much found it.
Yeah. I was flying with Jason and Stuart and Simon this afternoon, and in the buttercup fields. You're talking waist deep in buttercups, and locator, he's found his quad twice with a locator today, so it's definitely worth it, especially in long grass.
So that's a +2. I don't think they're cheap either. They're a little bit of investment, and they're also quite a large tag that sits on the quad.
I was going to put them on my I was going to put them on the GoPros. Because the GoPro's always on the quad anyway, and I'd be more upset if I lost the GoPro at sort of 250.
Not a bad idea. The trouble is that the locator is like a parachute for a GoPro session nowadays.
So that's my. I mean, I always turn the wireless on.
It's not quite.
I always turn the wireless on my GoPro because if it does go down, that gives you what, like about 30 meters range connection for the Wi-Fi, and with that Wi-Fi, and that you can enable it remotely, and you can enable the locator on it, which is, I tested it today. It's quite a good beep as well if you're quiet in the field.
Yeah, it's birds that usually like upset that silence, isn't it? It's the summer season we fly, and that's when all the birds are chirping. And I've tried to find beeps in a field. I have long grass and had that same problem. Hear it for the birds. But I think on a plane, especially, a locator is probably not a bad thing, and it's proven to you today, John, that they work.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have that much chance of successfully using the locator if you've got a telemetry link. Then if you have a telemetry link, then theoretically you should be able to rewind and look at your GPS coordinates. So if you're running a long-range plane, your GPS coordinates are typically accurate to like 2 meters. So you don't need a locator.
Yeah.
But
planes also sail when they're coming down. So if you lost your video at that altitude, it could still sail for a fair way.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, maybe that's
not
quite as accurate as you want it to be.
That's why you got your fail-safe set up to return to home. So it's all about what the autopilot will allow you to configure and what you can still push. So one of your connections needs to be infallible. So is that your long-range transmitter? Is it your telemetry link? Is it your goggles? Well, that's pretty useless if you the best you can see is that you can watch your plane going into the ground.
I've seen that enough with my quad on Team Fairsafe, but
yeah.
So the range, sorry, I was just reading up on the locators as well, and the range is about 122 meters or 400 feet. So that's pretty substantial, especially for like mini quads. So it gives you a 122 meter buffer.
You need to know where it went down approximately, though. So today's last endeavor into the fields to find a quad resulted in the locator not working and us searching in completely the wrong place by a good 120 meters, bizarrely.
Okay. It's not such a good one. Well, I've heard mixed reports, and that's why I throw it up. If anyone in the chat room has used a locator and swears by it or not. And actually, someone, is it Ben, that turns up quite late at Hidden Valley, at least last summer. He's used some quite successes.
Yeah, I've seen a few people with those locators, and I've heard nothing but good things about them. To be fair, I always look at the price and think, well, that'll buy me 4 new batteries. So
yeah,
exactly. And also, it's quite a large thing to attach, and they, yeah. I guess
in the grand scheme of things, they're not that big, are they? They fit on the side of a GoPro nicely. So
they're at least what, 4 centimeters, 3 to 4 centimeters.
It's probably 30 millimeters across, I would say, that disc.
Yeah, they're 32 millimeters to be exact. You were pretty close.
I rounded it up, but you got it close. Yeah.
They probably weigh 3 to 4 grams, I would have thought. Let's push our luck.
So just out of interest, so what do we say? 3.2. So that would literally clean fit on the back of a GoPro perfectly. So a GoPro is 3.5 centimeters.
You just wouldn't be able to get to the switch at the back anymore.
You'd have to stick it on the side, yeah. But you can stick it on the side, and yeah, by the looks of things, it would fit perfectly. It was like they were designed for it.
It'd always be slightly off center when you're flying along. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because if you've got more than one quad, to have one of those locating discs, and I don't think they're that expensive, but they still cost money.
That's a good idea.
One on your GoPro, and you're done, aren't you?
Yeah, and let's face it, your GoPro never launches that far away from your quad.
I'd be surprised. I've lost one in the field for 3 months.
This is why it's got a strong connection to you, isn't it? That's why you're thinking instantly, I'll attach it to my GoPro.
I don't know.
Quiz last week as to whether you lick your GoPro lens to clean it. Do you?
Oh, this is John.
I do lick my GoPro lens to clean it.
You do lick your GoPro.
I lick my,
just for the record,
thank you. Lens as well.
That's all we're going to say on the subject this week. We'll ask every person that's new to the show.
I've been known to lick a few windows myself.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good fun. I mean, whatever works really. But I mean, a good wipe with a t-shirt. It's like an apple.
I agree. The lenses are super tough. I got given one of those glass fit over lenses. You know, the thing that's meant to
glass our cleaners.
Yeah, what do they call it? Tempered glass or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the GoPro. I
stuck that on the GoPro. First flight, hit a tree and it smashed it. And I've hit trees a lot harder than that with a GoPro. And okay, so the worst happens, I've destroyed a GoPro. But I mean, typically they just scuff that glass, the native GoPro glass, and you can polish it out. Oftentimes you look and you think, oh great, I've screwed the glass up, and then you clean it, give it a good old clean, and it's perfectly fine. So the toughened glass that GoPro use, I mean, there's a reason you're paying $250 for the thing, you know. So
they're designed to be solid, aren't they?
Okay, my GoPro is relatively new, but after quite a few smacks, I've noticed that there's massive gouges out of the rubber surround. So it's had some knocks, but the lens is still nice and clean and scratch-free. I had a watch like that. It was a Seiko watch a long time ago. Even though the metal band and everything would get scruffed up and everything, the watch face didn't. And I was always amazed that they could make glass pretty strong, that even though the metal band had that. And clearly, we've had that glass for a while, but GoPro glass is strong. So you're going to put another tempered one on?
No point. I've got one, but Stuart will probably ask for it back. So.
And not only that, you've got to peel off, if it doesn't break off in one piece, every other bit of the glass shard that's left.
Yeah, no, it's got like a gel backing to it, so it all comes off in one piece when you do put it off. It was stuck to the floor here for a while. In my office.
Yeah, I need to think about some insurance for my GoPro. You say protect my bubble, don't you, Quinton?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my Session 4, which is insured by PC World or Curry's, and that's actually fantastic because they don't repair the sessions. You walk in and they just go and get your brand new GoPro off the shelf and give it to you there and then.
So that's variable, incidentally. That depends on your curries. Some curries think they're smart and try and send them away to some agent to get repaired and then screw you over, which is what happened to me. But I mean, the insurance still paid out, and I ended up with another GoPro after destroying the lens, which is cool.
I mean, I was lucky in the sense that I just walked in, they replaced it, but I know now because I bought the Session 5 recently, and they no longer do their insurance policy, so you can't buy it on the Session 4 or Session 5 anymore. So they don't do the insurance anymore. You have to get it from somewhere else.
So that's recent then?
Yeah. So that's quite a recent thing. So I think because they don't repair the sessions, they didn't want to insure them because it was costing them too much to replace them, I guess.
So it's just the sessions though, not the blacks?
No, just the sessions as far as I'm aware. So they no longer do insurance on them. But this is just insured through Protect My Bubble, and then this £50 excess if I break it.
Have you claimed through them before, though? Because half the trouble is often the claim process.
Is what, sorry?
The claim process alone, like, have you actually tried to claim from Protect My Bubble?
I haven't, no. Hopefully it's not too bad. But I haven't broke one yet, to be fair. So, yeah. I mean, have you? Do you know something I don't?
No, I don't, actually. That's why I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you, insurance companies are in the art of trying to get out of it, especially with gadget insurance. And I had a long camera once. No, it was just a point and shoot. But
I think in the sense that, they do have the £50 excess. it's probably makes it a little bit easier in the sense of, you know, you're not just going to keep sending the camera back to get replaced. But
and did you contact them to say, do you cover this even if it's flying, blah blah blah?
Yeah, and the best thing is they even insure it against theft and loss as well. So that's pretty cool. I mean,
Let's say if you lose it in the field. Yeah.
Well, I have lost GoPros. So, mind you, they turn up again. It's always the Session 4. I don't know what it is about my GoPro Session 4. I couldn't tell you where it is now, but that thing somehow gets lost anywhere. It could be in my pocket, and I'll lose it and find it 2 weeks later in my pocket. So, yeah, I swear it's possessed.
It's possessed. Okay, that's a new one. Is it possessed with the dark spirit of Tim West, whatever his name is?
Well, I lost my Session 4 about 2 weeks ago, and we turned the house upside down trying to find it. Do you know where it was?
In your car?
Under the coffee table in my mother-in-law's house.
Why? What are you filming under your mother's coffee table? Mother-in-law's coffee table? Like, why was it there?
I genuinely don't know how it got there, but yeah, that's where it was.
that raises many more questions than it answers.
Uh-oh.
No, the trouble is these are getting very small now, and it's not easy to.
But it's always, see, the Session 5. I always know where it is. I can just walk, pick it up, and it's there. Always know where it is. The Session 4, never. And they look the same. They feel the same. I just don't know why. So yeah, there's something wrong with it.
It's a 4.
It's a 4. Nothing wrong with it, to be fair. By the time
there's something wrong with it. No,
No. You meant the. I assume you were talking about the quality, but
I know, but it kind of was.
You take a Session 4 and a Session 5. By the time you've uploaded it to YouTube, is there really a noticeable difference?
And often it's not just the uploading to YouTube, but you've got to be careful when you're exporting these videos. I put one up not so long ago, and when I exported it from just standard, matching the bit rate from the files, it came out quite blocky. And it was only when I trebled the size from 500 to 1.5 gig did it actually start to look okay. Yeah. So it's not always YouTube's fault compressing it. Sometimes it's before you even upload it, the compression there. So.
Well, I do need to review my settings in many ways. So.
I've changed my settings to 60 frames per second super view and never had an issue. So, but then again, I used to do 90 frames per second, but I encode it with the GoPro app rather than using. So maybe the way the GoPro Studio application works makes things work a little bit better. I don't know.
Well, often it knows that it's an MP4 file, and it can cut it for where it thinks it should be. It should actually know exactly how to cut it up to the right spots. Master sometimes,
learn
a native format that it knows completely about. Yeah. Well, I can't wait for a new GoPro. I think they are coming out later this year, so only a few months now. Let's see how much the GoPro Session 5 sell for.
Was there any more information on that? Do you know on the GoPro?
Not yet, really. It's usually in the fall time, the 3-month period up to Christmas that they usually aim for. So expect something by September, I'd say. There was rumors of doing 8K, but they might actually go down to something like 5K. Plays out there for like MacBooks and stuff like that, so they might actually just increase that slightly. But you'll probably see an increase of the 4K recording to like 60 frames a second and more on the 1080p.
It'd be interesting to see where the next logical step would be.
Well, this is they've tried other ventures now with the Karma drone, which will fly them, but they didn't have a great success with that. And also some of the social media stuff that they probably pumped a lot of money into didn't actually quite take off in the same way, I don't think. So as long as they concentrate on the cameras, and as long as they put all the other competitors at bay, rather than through lawsuits, but innovation, we probably still got a few years yet of a yearly release cycle, for the GoPro, because they haven't always had that. It's usually 2 years on some. I think the 2 years, the 3+ and stuff. But they've adopted the Apple philosophy.
Yeah.
Release it late in the year before Christmas and make it uber cool, and everyone will want one.
But that makes sense, I suppose.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, I have tried a few other cameras, and I personally not found anything that comes close to the GoPro, and the durability of them as well. I mean, like John was just saying, you know, the glass on these things are absolutely insanely tough.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
personally never broke one, and I've crashed quads a lot. So
the other bonus for me is I had my old 3, and I had some bike mounts and all sorts of other mounts. I could now use my session because they at least kept the cage mounting bracket exactly the same. It's like, So even though I went away for a while and had a Yi, I have come back to the GoPro world.
Yee.
that makes sense. So.
Infection.
Yeah. So how long before your plane's up and flying then, John? When will we get to see it fly and then crash because you haven't flown in decades?
Well, I'm waiting for a motor to come from Banggood to start with. So that's the one primary component that's still missing. And I probably have to buy a couple of batteries. So I have to buy a couple of 5,000 milliamp hours or something. The electronics is here on my desk. I've now got the head tracking working. I'm in the process of tweaking the head tracking so that so I can do pan and tilt off either the head tracker with it, and then toggle a switch and use the sliders on my radio, so that I can do one or the other. You know, because maybe you want a fixed pan position as well. So so that's done now. I think I got the electronics working. I just have to suss out how to configure the APM module to support VTail, because this is a VTail plane, and then I should be good to go. I haven't sussed out the telemetry link yet, so I've got an OSD on the thing, which should be sufficient for your regular flight. But they say the telemetry link is good for mission planning and mission changes during. But I mean, it's not a big thing for me, but it's good for locating it if it goes down, because it logs all of the data in the mission planner. So you get like a little USB receiver that you plug into a USB port on a laptop, and you run the thing live. So there's that I need to do, and then there's putting the thing together. So I've created all the wings, I've created the tail plane, I've printed a bunch of stuff to improve some of the parts that they give you, because they they could do with improvement.
Stop playing Rocket League and talk. He's got to go. Come on, this is everyone. If you look at the live stream now, this is Rocket League face. Just have a look.
I can share my screen if you want.
The level of concentration in that face is just focus.
When you add so much onto something, though, there's more of it to go wrong in the initial sense.
No.
Your APM.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I should really be flying it with just off the receiver to start with, but then the weight parameters change, and your center of gravity changes and everything. So
that's easier to change, but you should just fly it as minimum as you possibly can, just to check things over.
For sure. So I'm not adding anything on that isn't in the kit. So in other words, there's a frame in the kit that they give you, like a wooden frame, but there's no base to the frame. So how do you mount shit in a frame with no base? So this thing is just like it's a shelf that's been printed that fits onto that existing base. So it's about another 60 grams in total of weight. When you've got a takeoff weight of 1.3, 1.4 kilos, 60 grams is not really going to make much of a difference. So it's and the skids for underneath. So they give you landing gear in the kit, but the landing gear is pretty crappy, to be honest, because I don't have a runway to land on. I've got a field with long grass to land in, so a wheel is superfluous. So I've just put some skid plates along the bottom that I printed out. There's a guy called Mark Q who builds these things. He's built 4 of them. He's got a great blog on the internet where he goes through all of the different things, and he prints and designs all sorts of different modifications for his planes and things. So that I'm following his best advice, So I'm not not necessarily following the manufacturer's guides. But I mean, the thing is apparently a workhorse. It flies great. It's a great thing to fly, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's an easy fly. They say that's one of the most important things. That it flies well. It doesn't need you don't need an eagle eye on it, so to speak. Although this thing will have an autopilot which will automatically stabilize because of the 3-axis gyro and all that nonsense. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good fun. It's a good fun for a train.
The one, I mean, because I've got fixed wing, it's top wing, and I've lost my low wing. But I always wanted a wing of something. But the one that I've been interested in for a little while is the Skywalker series, the X5, X8, and the X8 I think is 2 meter wingspan, but it's done as pretty much as a wing, but with a proper canopy. I think they have a total sort of payload capacity of a few kilos often. Like I think even 4 kilos in some of these things.
Yeah.
And yours is essentially a plane, isn't it? There will be just as much fun if you're flying it line of sight through the air.
Exactly. If you look at search for quad mover on the internet, on YouTube, quad mover and mini talon, and he uses one as a around the park flyer. So it's great fun, even just local. So I mean, I think the autopilot and long range stuff is just something a little different. No specific aspirations. There seems to be a sort of a 10 or 12 kilometer average radius. I mean, you need battery to get 10 or 12 kilometers. The thing that can potentially fly at something like 100 mile an hour or 100 kilometers an hour, 110 kilometers an hour when you got the right props and things like that. But it's something fun. I'll probably lose it on the first flight and be back to quads, but it's not going to replace I love flying quadcopters. I mean, especially where I am at right now with my flying skill development. I've started pinching. You'll be happy to know. So I'm a little bit cold turkey a week and a half ago, and just started pinching and just stuck with it. And
it's weird, isn't it?
You get used to it really quickly.
It's such a strange thing because
you do.
I just out of interest, I spent a few days pinching on the simulators.
Yeah, me too.
And I got really used to it and really good at it, and I felt really happy and comfortable. And then I'd go out and fly, and I couldn't pinch. I just couldn't do it. I had to go back to thumbs. But then over the course of about a month, maybe a month and a half, I just naturally started pinching, and I wouldn't go back now.
I think a lot of people make the assumption that pinching, and it's not necessarily pinching, is pinching the sticks. But sometimes people do the hybrid, which is the thumbs just on top as a stop. So I don't really fully pinch in the sense that it's pinching the sticks. And that's what people sometimes say hybrid. But I think having 2 fingers on a control stick stops any of them just slipping off. Because
it's not even that. You know what it is for me? I hang the radio from the lanyard, so I'm not holding the radio. I'm resting my hands on the radio like it's a desk, and that releases the tension in your hand, which gives you so much more granularity on the pinch. So, and that's a massive change. Whereas when you're holding and thumbing, you've got this tension in your wrists because you're holding the radio. Even if it's on a lanyard, you're still holding it with your fingers, and your thumbs are I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I mean, I hybrid to a certain degree. So it's over the top. My thumb, my index finger over the top, and my thumb's kind of on the top of the stick. It's not a true pinch. I will work towards the 2 pinch, but I'm still at that point where if I'm going to do something a little bit more ambitious than usual, I sort of fall back to thumbing, which I'm slowly trying to get myself out of, to do all of this stuff. And I found that the yaw becomes a lot more accessible when you pinch. So yaw, I've always been wary of the yaw when I was thumbing. So, but now I'll do a roll over a tree and then do a flat yaw spin inverted over the top, and it's just natural. So it's changed my life a little bit.
Yeah. My sex life is better, and
yeah. Have you been practicing?
Yeah.
I think it's what you get used to. I think, and It's sometimes a bit of a culture change to actually go to move across. But I think when I did a post on Road Riot, it was about 500 responses that came back, and there's more thumbers out there, and damn good pilots that are thumbers, and rubbish pinches, and damn good pinches and rubbish. You know, there's the whole range.
I'm so good at it. I pinch for Rocket League now.
on your Tyrannus.
Are you actually serious?
I've learned how to spot it, actually. Your face turns orange and blue as it changes different sizes. No.
I wonder if the thumbing has come from computer games, and whether that's where people have progressed over, and just gone with thumbing, because that's obviously what I was doing as well, and being an Xbox player. So I wonder whether that's the progression of it, but I don't know. There are some really good pinchers and there are some really good thumbers. There's some good height and everything. I think people just stick to what they need to stick to.
Yeah,
what works for them.
I'm not an advocate of pinching. I'm not like going to punt it, but I've done it and I've found that it improves my flight. But that's not to say that the next guy, moves away from pinching to thumbing and enjoys his game more. So not his game, his flight.
And it's more of the flying itself. Do you feel comfortable flying, and how do you feel comfortable flying? I know local flyers, very good thumbers but I do just hear occasional stories where on a hot, sweaty day, you're up in the air, there's people that have slipped off that thumb.
I do it all the time.
Which may result in a crash.
That happens all the time. Before I started, I was slipping a finger.
Yeah.
Slipping
like improved when he went to pinching because he didn't get slapped in the face.
It's a hard transition as well, though. I mean, to go from thumbing to pinching or pinching to thumbing, like actively trying to make that change.
Yeah.
It's not something you can go and do in sort of 3 or 4 packs. You have to sort of stick at it and do it over a few.
Yeah. You need to be brave and do it little bit by little bit, in a sense.
So, something I found interesting, or something that I discovered this week, was I have never seen a tiny whoop until this weekend.
And you didn't see one in the flesh.
I've never seen one in the flesh until this weekend gone, and I assumed that things like the QX95 and the QX80 were similar, but I've actually discovered that they're not remotely the same in kind of what they are. I mean, the tiny whoops and the little Inductrix quads, they're a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
I genuinely, because I bought a QX95 thinking that would be a nice indoor flyer, fly around in the house and everything like that. But when you actually consider what you're flying around, they're still spinning at high speed, and when you do get hit by them, they're not going to seriously hurt you, but they do nip and do clip you and stuff. So, and I saw
a bit fast. I mean, you can get fast tiny whoops, but the other indoor flyers, the QX and the LTs and stuff, and all the other brushed micro are often quite fast for indoors.
I mean, I got the pleasure of flying with Jesse Perkins, who's the owner of Tiny Whoop, and seeing his whoop fly around, absolutely incredible. The control, the precision, it looked like a big quad flying around a small track. It was absolutely shocking, and nothing takes them down either, because they are inducted, and because
they just bounce.
They just bounce off everything. So yeah, I am currently. That is the next thing on my list. I am going to get myself a tiny whoop.
Can we get the new one from whatever they're called, Horizon Hobbies? That's got the camera built into it, so it's all, you don't have to buy the camera separately.
Yeah, I think that's what I was looking at. I was really lucky actually. Just gave me some of the new is it hot sauce motors? Some of the new really high kV brush motors. So I've got some of those. I just need something to put it into now.
So buy one on eBay. There must be enough going for sale on eBay and Trend Junkyard UK. Do people get rid of them?
I hadn't thought about it actually. That's a really good idea.
Because actually, after a while, the motors do start to wear out. They're not, or a lot less time than a brushed one if you fly enough. So you might find some that are just selling cheap.
Yeah, I might well do that actually. It's definitely on my list because I think it fills a hole that QX95 didn't, and that's truly being able to fly it around the house, and and setting up a little racetrack and stuff. Whereas with the QX95s, where they're open, where the blades are open, it just one little tap and that's it. It's down. You've got to get up, go and pick it up, take your goggles off, and everything like that. Whereas the wood, we just carry on, So
yeah, you hope to be
thoroughly impressed.
So how was that event actually? The Comic Con.
I only went up. I went up with Tony and Jack Nash, and we just went up for the Friday in the end. I mean, there were a few issues and stuff, but overall it was pretty good. It was a good day out and a good experience. So unfortunately, we didn't get Tiny Whoops to fly. We were flying the Eachine E101s, are they?
Which brand new aren't little bad flyers. They can work quite well.
I mean, compared to what Jesse was flying with his Tiny.
Yeah, but he would have had the most, the best forward and the best motors on it and good batteries. And so you can't compare it as a mass factory produced. But if you want that tiny indoor inductrix flight, you can get it on the cheap. You don't always have to spend the money. But actually, there's some interesting things that they've done with Tiny Whoops. And I think they're actually going to go from this strength to the next one as long as they keep it up.
Yeah, I hope so.
They set the mark for micro flyers that you could use with a proper radio and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like I said, before the weekend and actually seeing one, I'd always just seen them as an expensive QX. I hadn't seen them as anything other than an expensive version of the QX, but they really aren't the same thing. They're completely different. The QX is perfect for flying around your garden or in a little car park, whereas it's sort of a little bit too big and a little bit too fast for flying around the house.
In the house, yeah, you're right.
Whereas
one thing try flying your house as a baby hawk. Oh yeah.
I want one of those so bad. Yeah.
Oh, I do actually. I'm surprised John hasn't already got
a tiny wing to fly around in my house with a brushless motor on the back.
Well, no, actually, what you could do is make a paper plane, and you can RC paper planes. I
have this. So let me get this quickly. I have this, which is now broken. But
you had. What did you have? What was it?
This is a phone-controlled RC plane thing. So it's like a paper plane thing that connects to a USB port. I mean, not a USB port, just connects, which is pretty cool, to your Bluetooth. It's just this little thing. It's like a rod with a motor on the one end and a tail and server on the end, which is pretty cool. So I mean, that's
has it flown?
Plane. Yeah, it flies okay. I mean, it has to be dead still during the day. I have pretty much like one paper plane outfit, but there's a cult following for the things. So it's pretty cool.
It was pretty much 10 years ago that the Spectrum DX7 came out, which was quite a 2.4 gigahertz thing. So I wonder what's going to happen in 2027 now, in 10 years from now, as everything's got much more miniature, and we've actually had electric flight take off really in that time, in the last 10 years.
It's been
10 years more will be interesting.
Yeah, it's been. You think about it. For those 10 years, it's the invention of the foamy aeroplane that's completely made RC hobby sport accessible.
Yeah, indoor flying as well. Indoor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's foam. It's cheap. It doesn't break when you've crashed it once. So yeah, it's awesome. But I mean, some people, they crash a plane, they buy a new one, they don't fix it. So you don't have to. It costs £3.50 for a bit of foam, and you can make your own plane out of foam. If you scour the internet enough, you'll find guys who are making planes out of sheep polystyrene.
Yeah. Well, it was 10 years ago that my Thunder Power 1320 3-cell, I think it was about £40 for one battery for a 1300. Yeah, crazy. Whereas now it's what, £8 if you're lucky on Hobby King, or even cheaper. Yeah. It'll be
just out of interest.
Sorry?
I was to say, John, are you flying? Which batteries are you flying at the moment on your drones?
I run HEs, So I've got two types. I've got the 75s and the 95s, and the 95s seem to work okay. The 75s are fine as well. I mean, now that the warmer weather's here, yeah, they're 1500, so they do the job. They're okay. I've got a couple of 5S HEs as well, and those are good fun. But they, I mean, they punch out, you know, punch out and then land.
Yeah. With a soft landing from above, it's underslung from a ballooned battery.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, you know what?
I was just curious. I mean, I've all of my batteries, the ACs as well. To be fair, the only issues I've had with them is the XT60s. They seem to be really badly soldered, and I've had at least 5 that have just sort of pulled out.
Really, of the XT60 connector?
Yeah, 5 of them now. Well, at least 5 of them. You see my batteries; they're all shrunk wrapped together and resoldered, and it's just thing.
Of mine, I never found the ones I've repaired that the XT60 lead or the connectors have ever broken. It's usually the balance lead, and it's usually their strap that they provide, which is punctured enough of my because of the metal sheet in them, protecting the main surface area, the cells on 2 sides. But that cuts into causes them to die. I like them. I find that they've taken a beating and abusing. And
yeah, I find these batteries as robust as my old Turnigy 65Cs, the Turnigy ones that I had, the graphenes.
Right. Oh, okay.
Which is saying something, you know.
Yeah.
I've just sold a couple of graphenes that are probably a year old, maybe, to a young chap that we don't fly with, but in our group, and I think he's going to find that those are the best batteries of the batch that I sold him. You know, I'm not a big person to sell secondhand batteries, but the guy's in the spot, and it's going to help him out, which is cool. So he's a youngster.
Yeah. So you charging double, yeah?
Well, I've never, yeah. You didn't know, $20 a shot. You got them for a steal, actually. But
these are £40 each, right?
Graphene, super expensive. Yeah,
they look nice.
Graphene is actually.
They do. I've got.
But then they come in a bag, the original graphenes, like a little drawstring bag.
Nice little drawstring bag. Yeah, I've got them still. I kept the bags.
You know, one day some of these might appear in museum. The development quadcopters and things as they got up. Yeah. So we've got Mr. Thrust in the chat. He came in quite late. G'day, Mr. Thrust, Marty. We're still planning some weird event, probably 24 hours. Striker's up for that, so watch this space.
24-hour live stream, hey? Oh dear.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, the summer's still here. Tony, sadly, Tony's not made it this week. His dog's hurt himself, so he's had to take it to the emergency vet. But I know he's up for that, so we'll get back onto that soon. But John, it's been a pleasure, sir, to have you back on and paying attention, not playing Rocket League.
Anytime.
It'd be interesting to see you playing. Maybe we could have your plane flying in a live stream on a Thursday night, because the it's still light, right?
Yeah, we could easily get we could. I mean, theoretically, I could rig my goggles to present to my screen, and then screen share, and then fly live and get a friend to launch it outside for me.
I think that's a definite, actually.
It's
8 p.m. What could go wrong? First flight, it'll be fine. Second flight, it'll. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nice places to fly around here as well, so I'm quite lucky. There's a lot of farmland, and I mean, I don't have the permission to fly over the farmland, but I mean, the farmers here are they're pretty cool, and they're not dickheads, so it's all good. And I'll have my dog with me, so there's always that excuse. No, I'm just training my dog with this radio control.
Fetch.
Well, I'd be keen to see that. I do like fixed wing. Clinton,
actually, the thing that makes fixed wing FPV even more fun is when you do it in a pack.
A formation.
Fixed wing FPV is even more fun in a pack. So, yeah, you need to gear yourself, tool yourself up.
So, and what you're saying is, Clinton, you need to build a plane, a mini Talon. I need to build a mini Talon, and we'll do that formation flying.
I'll be honest, if I'd known more about it before I bought the mini Talon, I would have got a Drac. So there's a Drac and a mini Drac, and they are some sweet looking. Look it up, DRAK, I think it is. They are some sweet looking. They're wings, so they have elevons, or whatever they call them. They are elevons, aren't they?
Is that the right? Is that the right wing Drac?
Could be, yes.
Yeah.
Great looking thing.
$329.
Yeah. Now we're talking, man.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
It does. It looks like a futuristic.
It does look
spaceship. It does look pretty damn awesome. To be fair, the problem with that kind of thing is that being a noob to fixed wings, I can just see myself ground it, putting it hard into the ground on the first run. So I kind of just want to get myself. I've got loads of motors and ESCs and everything knocking about, so I kind of just want something that I can throw what I've got on and just sort of go and hammer it a bit really before spending.
Which is what you get from a wing, but a wing doesn't necessarily fly the same as a plane.
No.
They're very similar in their aerodynamics and things like that, but they don't fly like a plane where you can get quite slow stall speeds and things like that. So if you want to do fixed wing, just learn on a simulator, and then you've pretty much got the skills. And maybe just borrow someone's trainer plane, Sheldon, if he's around ever, and have a go on a trainer plane, which is a high wing with a dihedral angle in the wing, and they'll fly themselves.
Yeah. Like a Beetle or something, or Bixler, or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Those are quite common FPV planes, the Bixler.
And when they're a pusher prop as well, the front nose is foam. They handle crashes so well. And that's the other thing with a wing. You could just get a wing and fly a wing. It's just sometimes when you're not used to aerodynamics, a plane is a bit more forgiving.
Yeah. It's a good learning point, is having a stabilizer. And that said, elevons they take some of the complexity of flying with a rudder and an elevator out as well. So there's a simplification in the way the thing flies, in that it's a V-tail as well.
But you can't always crosswind it. You can't get that crosswind flying. So yeah, but in that way they are very different. So yeah. In fact, I can't wait, John.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone can have a go at mine.
Talon? What, when it's in pieces or when it's still in one piece?
No, it's not the same as a quad, isn't it? Is it? I mean, Simon lets me fly one of his foamy trainers, and they're super easy. And the thing about it is that he's quite well geared in the world of spectrum. So he understands how to set up a buddy box and things like that. And when you've got an experienced pilot like him along, buddy boxing for you're pretty safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's dark art setting up buddy boxes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Clinton, you're going to get a plane that and we'll get you to build it in a wing or something, or a plane. We'll get you to build it in an hour.
I would like to. It's definitely on my list of things to do.
Since we've been talking about saying,
the first thing on my list at the moment is a tiny whoop. I really, really want one of those, and it's hard to justify buying all of these things at the same time. So
yeah,
tiny whoop is next on the list, and then followed shortly by a fixed wing, I think.
I must admit, I don't fly my tiny whoop enough, and I've got an awesome tree out the back. I mean, it's a walnut tree that's probably about 15 meters tall, and they've just 30% reduced the canopy, so it's quite open. There's a lot of gaps through it, and I could have so much fun in there, but I just don't, you don't think of it. And then when you do think of it, you've got to charge the batteries, which only last for a minute, but it's still a great little thing. I'll definitely, having spoken about it now, I'll definitely be freaking recharging the batteries.
But it's when you get cravings as well, isn't it? You get that craving. It's like, I need to fly. I want to fly, and I want to fly now, and it's dark outside.
Yeah.
Grab it, go, whack. And I know you could do that with the QXs and stuff like that, but
not the same.
Yeah,
just start around your wife and annoy her to hell.
Oh, don't even start. I've literally, the amount of times that she's had to cut out chunks of her hair where she's got my quad stuck in it. She's not amused. So
Cool. Are we over time or what?
Actually, finished up with time. I think we should call it tonight, but thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to also for our monthly sponsor from Fossil Stuff, who pays through Patreon. If you want to support this channel and support what we try and do each week, yeah, feel free to give. But thanks, John, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Playing Rocket League.
Cheers.
Thanks, Clinton, for also joining me, and you have been listening to Let's Drone Out.
it's been fun.
Bye for now. It has been fun.
Yeah.